Welcome to MSK Tech Show. I'm your host Manoj. So we have a special guest today with us in the show. So his name is Rahul Maheshwari. So Rahul has gone through so much of experiences, and he has been through, been there, done that kind of person. He has gone through so many things, and he would be sharing all his journey with us today. So hold on tight. So let's see what Rahul has gone through, and maybe we can learn a little bit more about what we can do. I know what you can do, and you can get some experience on whatever Rahul's journey is. And let's see how the show goes. We also have a lot of tech news covering today. After Rahul's discussion, right, we're going to cover a lot of tech news which are ongoing today. So Rahul currently is actually working in Google, and I am personally, even I am excited about his journey, to know what he has gone through, what kind of struggles that he has gone through, what kind of challenges that he has went through, and all such stuff. So Rahul, on to you now.
Okay, so thank you, Manoj, first of all, for having me. I'm really excited to be here, especially for the tech news part. That's something I am even nowadays not much aware about because, in lockdown, we all are being lazy and sleepy and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, first, thank you for having me. So, it will be interesting to see, my reactions because I don't know what it will be. So, yeah, thank you.
Sure.
Apart from that, yeah, sharing my journey part, that is something I really love to. I love when people, learn by someone's experiences. Myself, used to do it. That is what has helped me reach Google and reach this level, which I am currently. So, yeah, even I am excited to be here. It's starting, with my initial early days when I was in college, and in my bachelor's time, I literally had zero idea of what I'm gonna do in life. I was not at all concerned about getting a IT job. Even my parents used to say that okay, you should have done BCom, get a government job and settle your life. And I'm sure many of your viewers, they also would have been in the same phase in their life. Okay, so
Yeah.
but then I just wanted to explore things. I just wanted to explore and see what's out of the box because I have never been like out of my city. So I was born and brought up in Jaipur, which is in Rajasthan, and I was never I never stepped out of that. So once
Yeah.
that happened with me, once I stepped out or once I decided to step out, that was a 1 year of real hard preparation, days and nights of that landed me to NIT Calicut. And this was a life changing experience for me. I lost around 10 to 12 kgs of weight, okay, in my first semester itself. And not just that, cause the pressure is completely different, the environment is completely different, the kind of people you meet there is completely different. But now when I think of it, that experience is something that makes you what you are, who you are, because college life experience is amazing.
Yes.
And honestly, coming to the tech part, coming to the preparation part, coming to the part that could help your viewers, is no college is going to actually help you, okay, to reach your dream job. It was not NIT that helped me, it was not the tag of that NIT that helped me. What actually helped me was exploring things apart from my college. So all the breaks that I used to get, because see, in my bachelor's I would have done it, but I was not that aware, to be very honest. But during my master's time, I tried to explore the world and I tried to learn. I started with Linux, and that is when it begins, that is where it begins, and the journey kept on going on. So it was Linux, then cloud, then DevOps, then machine learning, and then things came on and on and on.
Absolutely. I actually agree to your point where you said, whatever we learn in college and to what we do in the outside world, right? There is a gap in between. So it's all about how much we are enthusiastic about learning things. So definitely yes. So definitely
Exactly,
yes.
exactly. Even nowadays, Manoj, I see a lot of students coming to me and saying, oh, I reply to all my LinkedIn connections, and out of them, 50% are like, see, we are from tier 2 or tier 3 college, and we don't think that we have a chance to get into company like Google. Can you help me with this? So, always my first response is, please do not blame your college. Even
Yeah.
our colleges didn't taught us anything special, literally nothing special. It is just that you yourself has to be have to be enthusiastic enough to get an opportunity from outside world. There are positions open, in the outside world. You can apply from career portals, you can apply from company websites, and you can get the jobs. But then learn the technologies. You only tell me, Manoj.
No, even I'm from a very tier 3 college. So I completely understand this.
We have a brilliant example over here now.
Yeah.
Great then. So yeah, that is one thing really important. So that is something luckily I realized in NIT itself, okay, that NIT is not going to help me. I myself have to be there. So I started there, and there also I used to teach some students while I was in NIT about all the technologies that I used to learn. And this has always been a belief in my life. See, that if I'll walk alone, I can only walk till a particular level. If I'll have to move, beyond that, I'll have to create some competition for me. So that is why I started, trying to teach students around me, trying to teach people around me whatever things I knew. So I used to do all this, Dockers, cloud computing, big data stuff at college time, learning by myself and doing some internships on that. So if you'll see this, Linux Worlds and all that, Red Hat certifications and all these I have done in college times only.
Okay.
And even those internships are not worth if you're not trying to, or if you're not willing to work on these things by your own. Luckily, I had an interest, days and nights full with, bottles of black coffee, and that was the thing that worked for me. I just love, swimming into coffee pool and just opening my laptop and doing anything and everything what I want to, practically. Okay. So yeah, that was the thing during my college days that helped me. After that, if you talk about my journey, so from college, there were, our college had a pandemic, not as big as the one we are currently suffering, but nano version of this. Okay. So that was a pandemic in Kerala. That time it was going on, Nipah virus. Okay. The virus spread was there, and there were really less companies which used to come at our time. So out of them, I got selected into Citibank, which was my first company I sat into. And looking at my resume, they didn't ask me anything. Honestly, they didn't just ask me anything practically, cause resume was itself strong enough. It itself was speaking for me. So I didn't had much to do in the interviews. It was pretty easy for me cause I've done my work earlier itself. So yeah, I cracked Citibank. I worked as an analyst for 6 months over there. Okay, kind of not what I like to do. Okay, it was a bit different. Good job, good profile, but maybe not for me. Okay, then I was looking for, being this a very big tech giant, it was something really professional. I was looking to something which is open, which is quite fun, where I get more challenges, where I get huge tech stuff to learn. Because you and me, see, we both are in big settled companies, so we know that learning and growth in a startup culture is way more than a big settled company.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was looking for that sort of experience only. So I joined Dapper Media Labs. Really cool company, amazing company to be in. I learned complete tech stack, tech stack of Dapper, and something I love doing. I automated the stuff. I tried to reduce their cost, work on their cloud. Okay, make their CI/CD pipelines, and work with other teams like products and engineering teams. So it was fun. So after this, after this startup culture, and that was something, in my life personally, there have been very, troubling times I was going through. I was going through a lot of things personally, and one thing was related to my mother, which she passed away recently and due to cancer. But she had a dream that I should be in Google, and I wanted to fulfill that dream. So to do that, I just had to do it. I had no other reason for joining Google that time. Now, if you ask me, yes, I think I have a lot more reasons.
That's a very strong reason that you mentioned just now. Yeah.
A lot of us, as an engineer, are trying to fulfill our parents' dreams. Okay.
Absolutely.
If you talk about my passion, it is completely different. My passion is somewhat, towards teaching people, or towards, creating some long lasting entity. And that is what I have done. I'll tell you further. But that was something, at that time when I was in Zapper, it was motivating me towards Google. Though Zapper has supported me in my bad times also, and I'm always thankful to those people for this. But yeah, they know why I'm moving in Google, and they were really happy for it. So yeah, I appreciate that, when companies are happy for your progress, for your growth, and they really were. So Zapper is an amazing place. I'll literally some point of time will connect again. I like to connect with the people at Zapper and work on some cool stuff. Then, I got selected to Google, and it was a long time, before I got selected. In between, I got selected and I actually started working at Google. So in between that, I did two things. I started Linux Socials. Okay, Linux Socials is a company which I own, and I teach there to all the people that how can you be in top IT companies. Okay, all those.
You have a website for it, Rahul? You have a website for Linux Social, or is it on YouTube?
Yet, I haven't created a website for this. I'm not looking for much of a promotion currently, but soon, within a year, I'm planning to, throw a website of this also. But currently, in Linux Socials, what I do is there are, institutes which take like 1.5 lakh rupees, 2 lakh rupees, 3 lakh rupees to give that courses to people, and, get them selected or help them get selected in the top IT companies, or as we say, FANG companies. I try to do it in a really less cost, that is around 2 to 3,000 rupees per month. It's a 6 months training, okay, costing around 12 to 15,000. And I think this much money should be there, cause people try and learn when they have something at stake. So this is not too high and not too less, but yes, a lot of students, they are learning currently, and I am really happy that when they entered with me, they entered with. And so I was actually talking about Linux Socials. So yeah, that is a place where I used to not used to, where I am actually currently teaching at very less cost, and something which is changing people's direction towards learning. And I'm happy to see that my students are not just learning data structures, but they are learning and exploring things way more apart from that. They are exploring things in DevOps, cloud, machine learning, and whatnot. So yeah, that is something I love doing. Teaching is my passion, as I already told you guys, and I tried to initiate this in my YouTube channel also. I tried to tell people that, guys, look beyond data structures, cause see, companies do ask you data structures cause this is the only thing resume generally has. So if you'll give them more content, if you'll give them content they actually need, they are really going to ask you way more things apart from that. So if you see how to get a LinkedIn referral, how to apply, so Pocket Ink is a channel where I created all this stuff in YouTube, and not yet monetized, everything for free. And I'm trying to see just like more and more people can come and see everything without getting disturbed. So this is one thing. You can just go on YouTube, search Pocket Ink, this will come up. Okay, so it has various aspects which are related to job and a job related mindset, how to choose a company, which company and you should work for, blah blah blah. So that was one thing for YouTube, and I did it when I got selected in Google, but I not actually started working. So I had bit of a time in between, so in that I thought why not to use that time. And then it begins the big thing, da 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 da, working for Google, working as a cloud architect, solution engineer. So this is a really big thing which I'm currently even going through. Sometimes even I feel like, okay, am I working at Google? Cause this happens when you are born and brought up like a really from a middle class family with since childhood you are using Google, and then you are into a company like this, then okay, sometimes it's like this only. My reactions are quite weird about this, but then I see all the hard work that I have done, all the practical things that I have done in my life. Okay, so I didn't always this was a long belief that okay, move beyond from theory learning, move beyond from theoretical concepts and apply them practically, do things practically, see the results, see the output, and then that is what is real fun, and that is something that really excites me. So yeah, I did that thing, and hopefully it worked. It worked for me, and it bought.
How much did you prepare, Rahul? I mean, before joining here, how long were you preparing in a day?
To be honest, before my interviews, I studied for 2.5 days. Okay, when I say 2.5 days, it was like full days, full nights. But I'll say that that was just revision. Okay, all the stuff that I learned since my college time, that I already told you, right? That I was doing Dockers, cloud, and Linux and all those things practically. And whatever I used to do, each and every word which was there in my resume, I have made projects on that, and I've done good big things. I have explored them till their core concepts. And what that is what I guess companies like ours, these big companies, they do not want you to be good in the superficial stuff. They want you to be good in the core concepts. If you're good in core concepts, anything can learn over the top things like in a week or two. So if your core concepts are good, which I was working since my initial time, so that really helped me. Okay, you can stop right there. So there comes my love, something I am really passionate about. I have a clothing startup which is named as Youngpun, and yeah, it has a website. Things are available on Flipkart also. Yep, perfectly this one. So you can check Youngpun website, you can check Youngpun t-shirts on Flipkart, and I try to make cool stuff, cool type of t-shirts. Basically, these are the prints which are hard to get. These are the type of quality of clothing. All that material is something which is specifically designed for long seatings and all. So no matter how much long seating hours you give, these will be quite comfortable and less sweaty. Okay, so I don't think we engineers, when we sit for long hours, we like to sweat more. So this is why these t-shirts are made for. Now I am trying to take it to a bit of a next level, where we are trying to design t-shirts from ocean plastic. We are trying to recycle it and create t-shirts from it. Maybe in like coming 2 to 3 months, we'll see that also. So yeah, hopefully everything goes good.
Can I buy these t-shirts?
I would love to see you wearing these on your YouTube videos. So these are available. If you'll click them, they'll take you to Flipkart. And the best thing is, with a platform like Flipkart, we are having, or not me, but generally people are having really less trust issues. So generally, if you see a website, there are trust issues that, okay, this is a random website. How will be the payment? How will be the refund and all? But yeah, everything goes quite clear over here.
So I'll probably try some of these t-shirts. I like this IDK, Google it. And when I'm doing YouTube, maybe I'll try this YouTube t-shirt. Let's see. Sure. So how is it backed up, Rahul? Like this, you developed it, or many other people were involved in this?
No, currently only I am involved in it. Okay, my brother is there who is helping me to maintain all that business stuff of this clothing line. Okay, he's helping me to maintain all this. And cause my time is half of the time is deviated towards Google, remaining half towards my Linux social startup, where I teach people to how to get into those big IT companies. So there, in this, which I actually love to do, Youngpun again. So I'm not able to dedicate my complete time, yet I try and design good t-shirts. I try and design good big things for Youngpun, and whatever is there, currently we are planning to launch around 25 new designs, which will be coming by the end of February. So let's see before Valentine's if we have something good.
It's really interesting to see such things. Like, yeah. Okay.
People like you and me, we can't sit with just one thing. We'll either do YouTube or we'll do something or the other. So that was my journey, I guess. Yeah, that is pretty much it, what I have done till now. I don't know what things will look like from now on. Okay, all these, superficial terms, cloud computing, DevOps, Dockers, AI.
So you're more into like platform guy more than core development guy, right?
Yeah, exactly. Maybe more into DevOps, more into architecture development, cloud development, more into all that. But yeah, I also do that, programming stuff. That is something we can't escape, I guess.
Coding is always at the, the core of the things that we do. It always ends up in some sort of code. Anyway. So yeah, thanks Rahul for sharing your journey and also the kind of struggles you have gone through, because let's face it, every one of us have gone through struggles. That is the one that has fueled us to reach to certain levels like this. Even I have gone a lot of struggle in my life. One thing that is a kind of a common between you and me is that my mother is a teacher. So which is why I was kind of becoming a teacher. So I started running my YouTube channel where I'm running these courses. So you're also inspired in a similar way. So I was kind of I was able to connect with what your passion is and how you landed to positions like this. Yeah. So yeah, thanks Rahul for everything that you have shared with us on MSK Tech Show episode number 2 when it comes to taking interviews. So I recently made an interview with a guy from Microsoft last week. So it's always good to hear different thoughts and different perspectives, right? This everybody comes with a certain perspective when they talk about their career. So to see such kind of passion and a meaningfully driven career of yours, it is actually inspiring a lot of people out there. So guys, if you want to get some suggestions from Rahul, or if you want to know more about what he has done and the kind of challenges that he has faced, definitely reach out to him. His name is Rahul Maheshwari. You can directly reach out to him on LinkedIn. He actually replies to all the messages on LinkedIn. Connect with him, follow him, and maybe you can also get some of the tidbits from him. So thanks Rahul. So moving on. So this show is actually called MSK Tech Show, and it wouldn't be called as a tech show without some cool tech news in the backpack. So we'll just go through some of the tech news that we have today. Sure. So we have an article from The Verge here. So this is a mobile phone. At the very first sight, it actually looks like a very similar mobile phone that we use on a day-to-day basis. It's an Android phone. Looks like it has a vanilla Android running here, but there is something odd about this phone. Are you able to notice something odd about this phone, Rahul? Anything?
Yeah, the transparency. Oh gosh, the transparency. This level of transparency I want in technology
there is a
world.
transparency here. I mean, with these widgets and all those things are transparent, and this display is also covering the entire screen here. But if we look very carefully, right, there is no selfie camera. If you really, I'm trying to zoom in on this video, on this photo here. So there is no selfie camera. So few questions come to mind. Some of these kind of concept mobiles actually came in the past. So one such mobile was OnePlus 7 Pro. In OnePlus 7 Pro, there was no selfie camera, but it was actually hiding on the on the top. Whenever you try to take a selfie,
Yes.
yeah, whenever you
Exactly.
try to take a selfie, it used to pop up. So those pop-up camera systems were there, but this phone, right? This phone doesn't even have a pop-up camera. It doesn't even have a selfie camera right off the bat when you see it. So this poses the question: are selfie cameras dead at this point? So
Maybe my Sherlock brain is telling me that we are doing something behind this screen. which is
Absolutely, the
looking at
selfie
us.
cameras are not going to die, especially in this age of TikTok, right? If your selfie camera dies, your phone will not sell at this point. So this phone is actually called ZTE's Axion 20 5G. It is actually the world's first under-display selfie camera. So you won't be able to notice if there is a camera here or not, but they have actually the first players in the market where they've implemented a camera under the hood. So there is a camera here. This phone is getting a lot of traction lately. There is a lot of articles here, which, I mean, whenever something happens, when it is first in the world, right, it always gets a lot of attraction. For example, Samsung got a lot of attraction. Let's even go back in time. Xiaomi, they got a lot of attraction when they released a phone which was all screen, right? That was the beginning. I believe the phone was called Xiaomi Mi Mix. The Mi Mix.
Yes, I remember that one. I remember
Yeah.
that news. Literally, that time it was a big
Absolutely,
buzz.
that Mi Mix phone, right? It was like a concept come alive, which actually paved the way for all these full screen devices. People tried to name it differently. Samsung called it as the infinity display. But it all began with Xiaomi Mi Mix. So it always registered in people's brain whenever something happens for the first time. So even now, this ZTE is actually making one huge leap forward. Maybe many companies will actually follow this kind of trend going forward in 2021. There are a lot of rumors that iPhone 14 will come without a notch. So iPhone 13 will be actually with a notch, and 14 will be coming without a notch, but we'll have to see. I believe Samsung is going to take a similar step in the next upcoming Galaxy Note 21 series, especially looking at what ZTE has done here. But actually, we need to get our hands on to check what exactly is going on under the hood. How is it actually capturing, selfie photos, even though there is no camera here? We're gonna have to see how that works out, and when the reviews come out, right, we'll see how it works. I'm sure there are a lot of patents out there that explains all this stuff, but we'll wait for the reviews out there.
Manoj, how about you starting a review, products review? You can review this phone.
Yeah, I'm reviewing a lot of things online, so maybe I'll start reviewing things offline as well. So I actually ordered a couple of studio cameras to my house in my set. So once they arrive, right, I can probably do product reviews after that. Yeah.
Ah, great.
So moving on to another tech news from Lenovo. So we had CES 2021 where we saw so many advances happening. Of course, the show did not happen in Las Vegas because of the lockdown situation, but so many other tech companies, right? They posted a lot of videos in their home pages. So one such thing caught my attention, that is Lenovo's Think Reality A3. So this is a three-dimensional VR headset that is developed by Lenovo, which actually is oriented towards corporate kind of people. So I actually have one video here playing Lenovo's, this Think Reality A3. So looking at this, right, if you are one person who loves having so many displays around you and you have only one machine, so this could be your dream come true, where you can have multiple displays, running wirelessly, using this kind of camera situation going on here. But we'll have to again, like I said, we have to test this out. So they are actually pushing a lot of concepts come to life. We had a lot of rumors that Apple glasses are also in the works, but we don't know the kind of capabilities that has. But Lenovo is doing a lot of innovation behind the scenes and trying to come up with these cool concepts which could be hitting production soon. So that is a good thing to hear about Lenovo. What do you think about these glasses, Rahul?
See, to be very honest, I am hell excited about this. I am a fan of Iron Man, and we all know these are inspired by Iron Man, or Iron Man is inspired by this. I don't know that exactly, but I love this tech. No matter about which company is doing it, okay, or which person is doing it. If I'll get a chance to work on these things, I would love to work also. But to buy something like this, to work, to use this stuff, yeah, it's absolutely cool.
We're all like, as kids, right, we always loved Iron Man and those HUDs that used to come as Iron Man spoke and thought with himself, right, inside that suit. So it's kind of giving the same feeling here.
Exactly.
So yeah, pretty excited about what these glasses will do, and I may try this out when they come out. So moving on to some of the Apple news that we have. There is this keyboard shortcut, Command Z, which goes back. It looks like Apple likes Command Z so much. The reason why I'm saying this is they are going back in time. So they actually removed so many ports in their current MacBook lineup. So people rush to buy them. Now they're actually going back and putting all those things that they removed, like SD card slot, for example. And they might be even bringing back a HDMI slot as well in the upcoming MacBook Pro. And they're also bringing back the MagSafe, connector, which we all liked. The connector that used to drop out when you... So they removed all these features in the current MacBooks that we all bought. And then it, honestly, let's be honest, it became a dongle city after that point. People started calling MacBooks as dongle books after a USB-C came, and everybody needs a dongle at this point. Now,
exactly. So, Manoj, sorry to interrupt you, but I have a great intuition over here that within a year of this launch, we might see something like let's say a iCard or something like this, which will be what do you say, a memory card or something like that, SD card from Apple, which stores, I don't know how much data, okay, it stores tons and tons of data, and yeah, that is something by
that
Apple.
could be proprietary once again. It's an add-on thing you need to purchase separately as Typical Apple style.
Yes, it's an add-on. It won't come
Yeah.
just like the charger.
Not just that, like I told you, they're going back to MagSafe charging unit, which we all loved. They're actually bringing back the function case, and they're actually getting rid of the touch bar. Looks like they didn't like the touch bar too much.
Why? I love
There
this
are
one.
mixed reactions. Yeah.
Personally,
There
I
are so
love
many
this.
mixed reactions. Some people have used it, found it very useful. Some people did not find it useful. They want the physical keys. There are a lot of mixed reactions. So, like I said, Apple is actually hitting on the Command Z button, trying to go back in time.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Maybe this is a MacBook Pro Vintage Edition or something
no,
like
this is the actual MacBook Pro, which is going to sell after July. 16-incher and 14-incher MacBooks.
Oh God. Alright. Quite a lot of
Yeah,
changes.
they're actually bringing back all those things that people missed. But one thing that has not gone back are the processors. These M1 processors that the current MacBook has, they are super fast and they are extremely battery efficient. So that is one area where they are leaps and bounds ahead of the competition as far as the laptop chips are concerned. So that is one area they are not hitting Command Z. They are hitting Command Shift Z all over, a couple of times.
Thank God they are not. Thank God they are not.
So yeah, that was about a little bit of Apple news. So here is something different. I'm actually looking at National Diabetes Statistics Report of 2020. So this is a report which shows you how many people are suffering from diabetes and how many people are, getting affected, 1 out of 10, or what is exactly the ratio and all such stuff. So this is a very big document. I have actually opened one article here which actually gone through that document. So it says that in America, 34.2 million Americans are currently diagnosed with diabetes, and just over 1 in 10. So if you really look at this number, right, this is a huge number to have such a disease, such kind of symptom. 1 in 10 is it's not like 1 in a million. 1 in 10 is a very serious number, right?
Yeah.
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 So this is kind of numbers that we saw from America, but if you look at India, right, first of all, the number of cases in India will not reflect the exact number because of lot of remote areas are out there, and some people might not be visiting the centers also. Same thing happened with the COVID as well, right? So the numbers, right, you cannot believe the numbers that are official from India. Even with such kind of a situation that we have here, their estimated is about 40 million. So my guessing is it would be at least double than this, looking at how much of rural areas are there in India and how many people are not going to hospitals, right?
Exactly.
So the question is, this is MSK Tech Show where we talk about all the tech aspects. So why am I talking about medical science at this point is something that you must be wondering. So the reason why I brought up the thing about diabetes, right? There is a rumor that Apple Watch Series 7 is going to feature a blood sugar monitoring watch app out of the box. So last year we saw the Series 6, which introduced the oxygen measuring capability. But this year we will see blood and sugar measurement, it's a big deal for so many people out there, because this is a very common thing that people are doing. So you and I may not be measuring the oxygen level with our devices, but there are so many people out there who are they are giving blood with their index finger and trying to measure the blood sugar level. If you have seen those devices.
So it's not about just seeing, Manoj. I'd like to share one thing over here, that few of my students, they are currently doing one such project. They are creating one such device. Okay, the same students who used to come with what I call as management system projects. Okay, library and mess management systems. They are trying to work on such things, and now seeing these things on this big level, it not just inspires me to buy these, but I hope when I'll share this news with those kids, it is going to highly inspire them also. So this is on a technical aspect, but on a medical aspect, again, literally, the problem is severe. We should have such things to not only get proper statistics, but proper diagnosis at proper time.
And this also doesn't require you to remove the drop of blood from your index finger every time you want to test. This is Yeah, this is done with just by using the light rays, which is an awesome innovation in my opinion. Especially considering the blood and sugar, right? Very common and very much needed feature. So we'll see.
So oxygen we used to test earlier. As far as I remember, in the oxygen meters, they used to test oxygen with this infrared lights. But now seeing this blood sugar and all, okay, this is quite mind blowing.
So pretty excited about the next release of the Series 7. I'm anticipating Series 7 will be launched in around September October timeframe where usually the new watches launch. So yeah, that was about the blood and sugar monitoring. Let's see how that goes. Moving on, more things about Apple. So cars, I've always been fascinated about cars personally. I'm also a hardcore gamer where I do a lot of racing games. So cars always fascinate me, and looking at one such concept, right? This was kind of a video that went super viral on Twitter.
Yes, this is super viral car.
There's actually one video, the video here where the car was having the kind of, you know, the wheels were turning in every single possible direction. But this is actually fake. Looking at all these news reports, this is actually fake one, but it was super cool to see such kind of wheels in a car, and putting an Apple logo out there is a recipe for making it, viral.
Viral. Yeah, exactly. But I don't understand. This is something like a childhood imagination. I am never able to understand this, that why cars are not having such tires.
Even I don't know. I mean, I need to check. Some of the hardware engineers out there might be able to answer this question, why these tires are not round and they're in the shape that they are today. But this video, right? This is actually fake one.
Yes. But super cool one. There is only one cool car. There is only one car that beats this car, which is the Tarzan. Our wonder car, the Indian invention.
But the reason why I brought up this topic is because there are quite a few changes happening inside of Apple. So this guy, right, Dan Rico, he will be transitioning into a new role inside Apple. But his new role, the description for his new role is very vague. He'll be working on a different project, it seems. Considering the amount of rumors that are out there that Apple is building their own car, right? And they have also got few people from Tesla as well. I'm not sure if you know this. They have got few people from Tesla saying that, hey, you know something about these cars? Come join Apple. At the end of the day, people move here and there, right? In corporate life, they actually move here and there.
Yes.
Yeah, so they know something. So they got into Apple, and this guy is also transitioning into a new project, it seems. So the project could be, there are speculations, the project could be the Apple car itself, or the project could be the next Apple's upcoming VR or AR headset. So they're actually pushing the virtual reality headset and also this car. The car is about to debut on 2024 according to some reports out there. But we are not sure about this VR or AR headset. I'm assuming these are Apple glasses. Looking at the glasses coming out from Lenovo, I think they are also on track with releasing their own glasses. Yeah.
Exactly. This will be something really cool to see, Apple working on such things.
Yeah. So those glasses, we're going to have to see what kind of capabilities those glasses are going to bring us, so that we can also enjoy the new, tech that Apple is creating out there. So yeah, a lot of changes, lot of internal changes happening, movement of project managers here and there. We'll have to see what it all transforms towards. So that was about Apple news. So moving on to some of our listeners who are mostly into web development. So recently in my last podcast, I actually reviewed some of the concepts and some of the demos that are achieved using this library called Three.js. Three.js is a library built on top of WebGL using JavaScript. JavaScript is all over the place. There is a quote actually. If something is able to be implemented in a JavaScript, chances are in the future it will be implemented with JavaScript. So this demo, right? I actually want to cover two demos here, which I found really cool. So one such demo is this web page. This is a product page. As I move my mouse, you're seeing the strings behind, right? They are actually moving. It's not a video. they're actually rendering this in the canvas. It's a WebGL technology. As I scroll right, it is actually giving me some sort of audio behind as well. And also it is giving me these cool effects where they are trying to animate things behind the scenes and displaying what kind of products are available in their website. And this actually it looks, not only looks cool, it actually brings the interest to the people who are viewing this website, right? It also has sound. So if you see here, they are animating so many things behind the scenes. As I move my mouse, right, it is tracking my mouse.
Exactly, and this looks so
Yeah.
cool. To your audience, I would like to say that learn this from Manoj.
No, I have not tried out 3JS too much in my career, but I actually get really fascinated with the kind of demos that we are able to achieve with it. So look at those animations, and see the water also changed, and it is tracking my mouse, bringing those bloom effect, light effect into these articles.
These are next gen websites.
Yeah.
These are next gen.
And these are also React.
Enough of
They
those
also
coding
react
things.
if I hover over them. So yeah, if you want to build something like this using 3JS, try doing something like this with your portfolio website and see how it goes. You don't really need a backend to build all these websites. You can even host it directly on GitHub, because this is built only on front end technologies. Nothing is going in the backend. Just directly you can host it. Even this world, right? It is even this is moving as I move my mouse pointer, which is it's kind of cool. So yeah, this is one example. So another example I want to cover today is, let's see here. So we have this demo of another product company where they are trying to demo their platform, but they have built this robot. This robot is actually tracking my mouse. My mouse is actually here. So her head is able to twist and turn wherever I move my mouse. So this is actually running at 60 frames per second. But you might be seeing at a lower frame rate of maybe 50 to 45 frames per second, because I'm recording a video behind the scenes. If I was not recording, this actually is very smooth, and I'm not sure how they are changing the head position based on where my mouse moves. They are actually giving me an option to scroll. So if I scroll, they will actually show different items that are there on their web page, and using different particles that come out, right? They're actually animating different parts of her body as well. So
Man, this is magic. This is magic.
it looks like magic for somebody who has never known the WebGL before. Even I have not tried have my hands on WebGL, so it is appearing like magic to me as well, and especially because there is no backend involved here. Everything is happening on the browser, and as I scroll, this is like animating, and her body is moving here and there. And look at that, they're showcasing some app, the next level of showcasing an app like this. There are so many websites which bring up the mobile phone, right? Whenever they want to showcase a product, they built a solution, they have built on a mobile app. But to showcase it in a level like this, which probably would require you to have a pretty good graphics card on your machine to run, is something that is not very common. But it looks cool though. This entire web page is actually moving if I move my cursor, including those crystals on the bottom. Lot of attention to detail. Those UX designers who have thought about the bringing such things, they are loving their work. I can say that much. Yeah.
This much details I've only seen in Marvel movies. Something I'm seeing right now.
Absolutely, yeah. So that was 3JS for us. We have a little bit of more news. I cannot skip the conversation without talking about Snapdragon 888 processor. So the reason is, yeah. So the reason is because recently we saw the launch of Galaxy S21. The S21 had an Exynos chipset inside for, let's face it, whatever the mobiles that are sold in India, especially coming from a Samsung flagship, we get Exynos version. We don't get a Snapdragon version for the most part. So people were very, kind of disappointed with last year's flagship Note 20 and also the Note 10 Plus, which actually came with the Exynos version. So reason of disappointment is because the Exynos version was not performing as well as the Snapdragon counterpart. The Snapdragon counterpart was performing a little bit better in terms of graphics as well as the CPU. But times are changing. Things are happening inside Samsung that Samsung's current chipset is actually bridging that gap. The latest Exynos that is in the S21 is actually bridging that gap, and it is the performance is very similar to Snapdragon 888. But nonetheless, as far as Qualcomm is concerned, this is their flagship device, flagship processor. So they're giving an infograph here. It is the biggest leap forward in terms of artificial intelligence. Maybe they're doing a lot of different computation under the hood, and they're including a lot of AI cores inside. So I've seen this inclusion of AI cores a lot. Last year when iPhone 12 was launched, they had a lot of, neural engine was updated too much. And even in the M1 chip, they have a 16 core neural engine or something inside. So they're specifically focusing on the neural engine and AI capabilities of the chips in the recent year. It also has 5G connectivity with the 5G modem. Of course, 5G has to be there in a flagship in 2021. We are getting there. We are getting the infrastructure done. Maybe it has been delayed because of COVID in the last year, but I think 2021 they will lay down these new infrastructure that we can finally enjoy 5G speeds. So it also has Wi-Fi 6, as you can see here. So Wi-Fi 6, you also need a router to run Wi-Fi 6 native. You want to get that speeds, but nonetheless, it is there. It will be future proof for the people who use Snapdragon 888 version. So they also actually have one video here, which I can play right now. So in this video, right, they're actually showcasing the capabilities of this processor. It's kind of a revealing video. So a lot of focus on the camera side, a lot of focus on the gaming, performance side, a lot of focus on how much this processor is capable of. Like I said, neural engine, a lot of focus on the AI capabilities. So if you see, the reason why I'm talking about the chipsets, right? When you see the chipsets, you will actually realize where software in the industry is also going. Because the softwares that we write today need to cope up with the advances in the hardware. Especially there is a lot of controversy that when it comes to software, right, optimization is something that is not up to the mark when you compare it directly with the hardware. Hardware is super optimized. The kind of the amount of transistors that they use and the amount of chipsets that they build, right? The optimization part, software is, you can consider it this way. If there is a room of 10 by 10 feet, and if you're writing only software, you might be filling only one third of the room inside. But hardware, it is not like that. They pack in billions and billions of transistors inside, and it's super optimized. So as software developers, we also need to think about optimization. And one of the reasons why Apple's products are running in a same performance, they're very performant, right? They get this performance even with only 4 gigabytes of RAM. So one of the reasons is the optimization. So looking at Snapdragon, we will see where software industry is also going. Lot of focus on AI, lot of focus on 5G and all such stuff. We're gonna have to see how this translates into real world performance as new devices come out with the Snapdragon 888 in 2000.
Literally can't wait to test these things for gaming. How good.
Yeah, mobile gaming, right? They are in a whole new league altogether. The kind of revenue, if you think about mobile gaming, I actually saw one chart where the kind of revenue was even higher than the desktop gaming. I'll cross check that chart and come back.
Nowadays it is. Nowadays, yes, it is.
Yeah. So since Rahul is with us, who is also working in Google, I thought of collecting some articles from Google as well. There was this rumor last year and the year before that Apple was secretly developing a search engine which might and quote unquote which could compete with Google search. There is a lot of speculation. There is a lot of questioning. How can Apple search better than Google? Google has more data as of today as we know it, and Apple is concentrated on keeping the data on the device, on the chip, on the hardware, right? And how can they come up with this kind of Google search? They cannot beat Google. Things like that. We saw it with Maps. To be brutally honest, Apple Maps did not have a chance against Google Maps because of the sheer amount of data that Google has as of today. So one of the reasons why Apple might be building their own search engine is because in Safari, when I search something, it gives me Google results, right? Uh, so they might be implementing one search engine where they give results on their own, but I highly doubt about the kind of capabilities it has and the kind of quality output it can give. Let's look at Siri for example. Siri today is not a match against Google Assistant because Siri doesn't have data to process more. Um,
Exactly. See, if you talk in world of search engine also, earlier Bing came, and when Bing came, it was like, okay, people were comparing it with Google search, but I think these are not ran on how newly or how innovatively you are building them. These things are deep rooted to history. Okay, how much data you are having, and people, since they are used to search on Google. Currently, we don't say that we have to search. We say that we have to Google it. Okay, this is for a reason that Google has that much of data. So that is something that helps. But okay, being said that, I still hope that good things come up so that competition increases and everyone grows even better. Ultimately, as a customer, as a person who uses Google, I get to use something
yeah,
better.
competition,
Okay.
right? Competition
Yeah, that's what I
benefits
want.
the
Let's see what
customer
comes up.
at the end of the day. Anyway, so yeah,
Exactly. So I don't know how to see this news as, to see this news as a Google customer or as a Google employee, or just not
maybe
to see it.
this is
So that's why I
because
ignore
Apple
such
wants
news.
a more privacy oriented, less data collecting search engine, something like that. But if you look at search engine, right, the more data is collected is actually beneficial for the customer himself. If you really look at the search, so we'll see how that works out. Our last article is there is some news going on in Australia today. So Australian government has something to say to Google. So they are saying that Google is showing all these search results, which is leading to the news sites, which is leading to their the content creators or content publishers, journalism. For example, journalism. They don't want Google to show results upfront. For example, if I open COVID cases, right, I'm able to see results upfront, which is not tempting me to click on this result and go inside the web page of that publisher, which is which is bad for the publisher, but it is actually good for the consumer as a customer, because I don't have to go inside somewhere to get the data out. So Google is actually helping me as a customer, but looks like Australian government doesn't feel like so. They want a certain price cut. They want a certain fees from Google if they want to show some of the information which belongs to the publisher or the journalist. So there is some controversy going on here, and Google has actually said that they might actually remove their business. They don't want to do business where because if you think about the internet is full of links, and Google is based on links, right? So Rahul is anyway working on Google. I'm not sure what Rahul's opinions are. If I can get your opinion on this, Rahul.
Uh, Removing Google search is something really big. It is a really big decision, and it will affect the country and the company both. So I'd say that they should wait for Apple search to come. That is something they can do. That is something that can help them. Nothing official I'm saying over here. Okay, obviously.
We're just reviewing the
But
news out there. So a lot of news
yeah,
are coming out. A lot of articles are coming out. We're just reviewing these articles. We're not predicting anything. These are just our thoughts. Yeah.
yeah. I was not aware of this.
This
Actually,
came
I
3
was
days
not
ago.
aware of this
This
until
came
now.
3 days ago. Yeah.
When you told this, then okay. I should sleep less nowadays, I guess.
Yeah, but
I'm
actually
sleeping
the
a lot.
creator of the World Wide Web himself has said that internet is full of links. You cannot break the fundamental, roots of the internet, which Google is built on. So we'll have to see. Yeah.
Exactly. And anyways, even if I'll think, if you'll take any browser, and ultimately the aim is to,
Build up links.
make customer
Essentially,
experience
yes.
better. Yeah, to build up links, make that experience of browsing better. And if someone actually wants to get the details of the cases, that is something you cannot get from there. You will have to
Absolutely,
go to the
absolutely.
website to check full details, right?
So yeah, that was
And this also, one big thing, that this also removes those websites which are not giving you proper data. So let's say if it is showing you data from 3 websites, okay, the one which is showing you the most accurate one, appropriate one, what you want
absolutely
to see,
yes.
you'll click on that only, right?
Yeah.
So that's
So
the thing
let's
what they
hope
are
that
doing.
the conflict resolves and Google still is in business in Australia. So yeah, that was about news for today. So Rahul, thank you very much for joining us in today's show. Our listeners want to get some tidbits from you if you have, and how can they reach out to you, Rahul?
So reaching out to me is really easy. So you guys can anyways connect to me over LinkedIn. I reply to my LinkedIn connections more frequently than that. I have an Instagram page called as Placement Buddy. Okay, placement underscore buddy. Don't miss the underscore. And apart from that, you can reply. You can put in LinkedIn comments to any of the videos. I reply to all the LinkedIn comments. So yeah, I'm fairly accessible, I guess. And some tips for them. Only one thing I'd like to say, especially to the ones who are looking for jobs, who are or working in or they are student in colleges. So I'd like to say to them, guys, explore things. There are things apart from the data structures. There are interesting web development technologies. There are interesting cloud technologies. There are a lot of things. Okay, in computer science. So by the end of your 3-4 years or in your corporate life, let's say after spending 2-3 years, don't be the person who is like, okay, I'm just good with data structures in C, C++, Java, whatever, whatsoever. Be someone who is more than data structures, cause that involves real thinking, real innovative thinking. Do not reinvent the loop. You guys are brilliant brains, and we all can, make something
Yeah,
brilliant together.
thanks Rahul for
That's it.
those words. I think many people were able to relate to you. Data sections algorithms, they are needed for as far as computer fundamentals are concerned. But there are so many different things out there which needs exploration, and our knowledge actually grows. And even we should keep updated ourselves with the latest tech that is out there so that we can make the most out of what we have today. Yeah.
Exactly. And guys, stay safe. These are tough times. So, yeah, stay safe and make sure your family stays safe. That's it. If you'll make sure for yourself and your family, whole nation will stay
Thanks
safe,
Rahul.
I guess.
So guys, stay safe, stay at home, take the vaccine, and we will catch you in the next episode. See ya.